Jalakam.
American Jalakathinte Taste Time-ilekku എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ ടേസ്റ്റ് ടൈമിലുള്ളത് നമ്മുടെ ഷെഫ് ഡിലൻ കാൽ.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Chef Dylan, what are we going to make today?
Well, we're going to make a Sri Lankan style chicken curry.
Okay. So can you describe the ingredients for us?
Well, we have a diced chicken breast. Then we have some sliced onions. We have some green chilies. We have a tablespoon of chopped ginger, a tablespoon of chopped garlic.
Sure.
And then we're going to have from my region, a curry powder, a raw curry powder, a tablespoon of that, and we're going to have 1.5 tablespoons of toasted curry powder.
Sure.
And a couple of other ingredients is going to be the red chili powder, if depending on how spicy you want it. Curry leaves. This is called a pandam leaf. That's something that may be something different. It's very similar. I wouldn't say it's similar to lemongrass, but it's pretty close. We also have some coconut milk to finish it off with.
So Chef Dylan, can you tell us how you make your Sri Lankan chicken curry?
For the Sri Lankan chicken curry, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to temper the onions, the green chilies, the ginger, the garlic, and the curry leaves in some oil till golden brown. After that, we're going to go ahead and add in the chicken pieces and the raw curry powder. Now, we also, at the point in time, we can add the chili powder, the red chili powder, depending on how spicy you like it. After the chicken's in the pot, we're going to cover the chicken with water and let it simmer till it's cooked. Towards the end of it, we're going to finish it off with some fresh coconut milk and the toasted curry powder.
So let's go ahead and do it.
Cool. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the oil.
Sure.
Well, it's important that you have a hot pan to start off with, because you know that's the whole basis, of the dish. So now we're going to start off with the onions. We have the curry leaf and the pandam leaf. Now this is something different that I don't think you guys have it there. But
I've never seen it.
If you don't have it, it's all right. You can use lemongrass for a change. Okay. So we're going to add that in. So we're going to go ahead and add the green chilies. Now these green chilies may look a little different to you guys because these are actually the green chilies available in Texas or they come from Mexico, which is a jalapeno pepper. It's called a jalapeno pepper.
Right.
We also have the garlic. We're going to add the tablespoon of garlic at this point in time.
Sure.
We're going to have the chopped ginger.
Sure.
And we're going to let that cook till golden brown a little bit. So now, as you can see, everything is golden brown inside. So we're going to go ahead and add the tablespoon of curry powder inside. All right, so now at this point in time, the raw curry powder cooks around a little bit.
Sure.
And we are going to go ahead and add the chicken. All right.
So you're essentially coating the chicken
Yes.
with the spices.
Yeah, you want to get the spices wrapped around the chicken real good, It is going to absorb a lot more flavor while it simmers down.
Sure.
So this point in time, you're going to actually, we're going to cover the chicken with water.
Okay.
And then we're going to let this simmer for a little while. When you add the water, there's still more water to come out of the chicken.
So when do you add the red chili?
Now the red chili you can add at this point in time, but depending on how spicy you want the food, I do have a tablespoon here, but I'm going to go ahead and add half of it. Okay.
And that's simmering too.
Yeah. Now you mix all this in and you simmer it down.
Looks like it's almost done. What do we do now?
Yeah, I think it's perfect right now. So the chicken's cooked through. So now it's time to add our coconut milk. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a cup of coconut milk in there. And then the most important part is the toasted curry powder.
Okay.
Now the couple earlier steps before we added the chicken in, we added the raw curry powder.
Right.
It's the exact same curry powder, but the difference is I toasted this, and that's going to finish it.
That's a beautiful brown. It smells great.
Oh, I smell that the coconut milk, and depending if you like a lot of salt or not, you're gonna add it, and let this simmer for a further 5 minutes without a lid, so that the gravy it evaporates and gets a little thicker. Okay. So our curry is done.
So how do we serve this?
What we're going to do is we're going to put it in a dish and we'll serve it. It can be eaten with rice, different rotis, breads.
Sounds good to me. Sri Lankan chicken curry undakan Chef Dylan namakku kaanichu thannu. Thank you so much, Chef Dylan.
Thank you very much for having me.
American Jalakam.
So Chef Dylan, what are we going to make today?
Well, we're going to make another Sri Lankan dish.
Great.
And it comes from the south part of Sri Lanka, and it's called potato bedum.
So can you tell us what actually goes into the bedum?
Well, we have 3 large potatoes that are boiled and diced. We have a cup of chopped white onions. We have got a tablespoon of chopped garlic. We got a tablespoon of chopped ginger. And we have some turmeric. We have the curry leaves, the pandam leaf, and a sprig of lemongrass.
Sure.
We have some dried red chili pieces. And we have a dried fish, which makes this dish really unique.
Dried fish. Sounds great. Can we go ahead and get started then?
Sure. Let's start on the first step. We're actually going to take our coconut milk and put it in the pan.
Ooh, it's hot.
We have to make sure it's hot, so then this way, the potatoes get a good flavor. So we're going to add the coconut milk. We're going to add the diced potatoes that we have. If you notice, if we turn the potatoes around, the milk is to cover the potatoes.
Do we have to lower the heat or keep it like this?
No, you can keep it high because this dish is not a curry. It's a dry dish.
Okay.
So all the coconut milk has to evaporate from start to finish. So now we go ahead and add in the curry leaves. I'm going to save the stem on this one. The lemongrass, the piece of lemongrass, it's important that we break it so that we get most of that flavor out.
Sure.
The pandam leaf.
Okay.
So now we're going to go ahead and add in just a teaspoon, probably a half a teaspoon of turmeric powder. And we're going to do a full teaspoon of the crushed red chili pieces. And the fish. It's a kind of it belongs to the tuna family. It's real crispy. It gives a great flavor, and so all this is going in there.
I've never had potatoes with fish in it.
Yeah, it's something different. It's from the south part of Sri Lanka, and you'll see a lot of people on the coast. This is a standard dish that we use for their rice and curries.
Okay, so this is always a side with the entree.
Yeah, it's considered a side for a dinner or lunch.
Okay. So what's the next step?
Well, the next step we have to temper the onions, the garlic, and the ginger till golden brown, and then add it into the potatoes.
Okay.
So what I'm going to have you do here is, because it's very important to keep stirring or the coconut is going to burn, I'm going to exchange pans with you and you're going to stir that for me while we do this. Okay? So now we're going to go ahead and add some oil in there. We're going to go ahead and add the onions. So we're going to saute the onions, the garlic, and the ginger.
Sure.
Now this you let it cook over high heat too till about golden brown, and that's when the onions will release the flavor, the sweetness, the tartness from the ginger and the garlic.
So now the onions and garlic and ginger are brown. What do we do next?
They're perfect.
Sure.
Wow, look over here. All the coconut milk's evaporated and it's perfect right now. Okay. So what we're gonna do is this onion and garlic that we have a golden brown on, we're gonna add it in here.
Okay.
And continue cooking it for a moment longer so that we get the true flavor.
You're really blending
onions.
it.
Yeah, we want to blend it real good now. You have to be careful not to mush the potatoes at this point in time because it's real firm right now.
And that smell of the dried fish is what's really coming out.
Yes, that's one of the main ingredients in this dish.
Right.
So this is one of the biggest things that changes this dish. If you take the fish away, it's guaranteed not going to taste the same.
Okay, because it smells very different from any other potato dish.
So we're going to add a little bit of salt to taste. Give it a couple stirs.
So again, you added salt at the end.
Yes.
So now it's ready to serve?
Yes, indeed. So what I'm going to go ahead do is spoon it on your dish. You're about to serve it, and
it's a very thick dish.
Yes, it is. And like I said, it goes great with rices, and curries, and if you want to just have it by itself with some rotis, that's fine too.
Well, thank you so much, Chef Dylan.
Well, it's a pleasure once again.
We can try this at home.
American Jalakam.
അമേരിക്കൻ ജാലകത്തിൻ്റെ ടേസ്റ്റ് ടൈമിലേക്ക് എല്ലാ പ്രേക്ഷകർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. ഷെഫ് ഡിലൻ ഇന്ന് എന്തുവാ നമുക്ക് പഠിപ്പിച്ചു തരുന്നതെന്ന് നമുക്ക് ചോദിച്ചു നോക്കാം. Chef Dylan, what are you going to teach us today?
Well, it's a street food called Kothu Roti, which teaches you to utilize all your leftovers at home.
All right, great. Everybody has leftovers. Let's learn today. Kothu Roti.
Kothu Roti.
What are the ingredients in what we're making today?
Well, first of all, we have our leftover plain rotis that I've gone ahead and shredded up. Almost kind of similar to noodles consistency. We have some diced tomatoes. I have 2 large diced tomatoes. Okay. I have one whole leek that's washed and sliced. We have a small sliced white onion. And we have some leftover chicken curry that was in the refrigerator.
Okay.
We have some eggs.
And salt.
And of course a little bit of oil to start off. The authentic way of making Kothu Roti would be on like a big flat pan.
Large tawa?
A large pan that's flat, and what they do is they have two paddles that they take and they chop it with both hands. Now, since we don't have that set up here, we can just use a basic saute pan and still achieve the same flavor.
So what's the process in making Kothu Roti?
The process is easy. We're going to go ahead and temper the leeks and the onions in some oil. And then we're going to go ahead and break in a couple eggs, almost like making a scrambled egg inside there.
Sure.
Then the curry goes in, the plain roti goes in, and you stir it up.
Okay. What about the tomatoes?
The tomatoes goes towards the last because you don't want the tomatoes to overcook and get mushy.
You still want the consistency to be
exactly. You want the consistency to be there, but the tomato still has to be a little warm.
Sounds easy enough. Let's get started.
So we're going to add some oil.
Sure.
You got to make sure the pan is really hot for this because that's the initial start.
It's smoking.
Yes, it is, and that's the perfect way you want it. Some onions. The leeks. And we'll go ahead and stir this a little bit. Now, if you're not comfortable trying that at home, don't try it. You can stick with the spatula because you might end up with all the food on the stove. So as you can see, the heat is still real high, and you got it smoking a little bit, but the smoke is good because that's part of the flavor in this dish.
Sure. Can you substitute any other vegetables?
Absolutely.
Green vegetables?
Absolutely. The leeks don't necessarily have to be there. We can do onions, and you can leave the leeks out.
Okay.
And you could just add all the other ingredients.
Sure.
But at the same time, if you have like a red, let's say, I didn't want to say red cabbage, but a green cabbage or a white cabbage, you can add the cabbage in there.
So it still gives that green leaf?
Exactly, a green leaf look. Now you can change it totally and add some cilantro in there, but if you're adding the cilantro for green, you'd wait till the end with the tomatoes to add the cilantro in.
Cilantro. And cilantro, Malayala, it adds a different flavor anyway.
Yes, it adds a different flavor. So it's all up to preference.
American Jalakam.
So now we're going to go ahead and add, I'm going to add about 3 eggs in there. As you can see, I'm just kind of breaking it right in.
Do you need me to stir it, or it can sit?
No, we're going to let it sit there a little bit, and it's almost like getting a nice scrambled. All right, the egg's looking really good.
Yeah.
It's a fast food. It's really quick. It's something that you would order on the side of the street, and you watch him make it start to finish, and it's something real fast. So now we have chicken curry, a leftover chicken curry. Now it doesn't have to be chicken curry. It could be a fish curry. It could be some kind of vegetable curry.
Anything left over.
Anything left over in your refrigerator. This is how you kind of spruce up, you know. Instead of having just a roti and some curry, second night in a row, you're changing it up a little bit, and you're using the same ingredients, but you're creating a whole different dish. So now, as you can see, the curry's in there. We're going to go ahead and add a generous amount of the rotis in there. Keep in mind now, if your pan is big, you can add more roti. If your pan is small, it makes no sense. You can cook it in 2 separate stages, just to make sure everything gets in there.
So the roti actually absorbs the moisture.
Yeah, the roti absorbs the moisture. Now, if you have the curry, it's good to have a little extra gravy, depending on how soft or how dry you like it. Okay. So you can add some extra gravy in there.
If you don't have enough gravy, can you add water?
I wouldn't recommend adding water, but just keep it the gravy. You could add instead of water, if you add a little chicken stock,
okay,
or something like that. So it'll add a little more flavor to it. So at this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and add our tomatoes, our fresh tomatoes.
And there's actually liquid from the tomatoes as well.
Yes. So when the tomatoes cook, there'll be liquid, but there won't be a whole lot of liquid because you're not going to cook the tomatoes down like you would in a curry.
Okay.
So.
And that's very colorful. You have the red and green.
Yeah, it is extremely colorful, and it's extremely fast. Now, on the side of the street, this guy, he just keeps on chopping it so fast that it looks like it's a real mess, but he brings it all in together, and it's probably the tastiest thing you've ever eaten.
The ultimate street food.
Oh yes, it is.
So this would work. Could you do it vegetarian without the eggs, maybe?
Absolutely. Vegetarian without the eggs. What you would do in this case is you'd make a vegetable curry. Okay. You could take the leeks and the onions and the tomatoes and make a curry out of it. Okay. And then you use that as the base in here.
Sure, sure.
So if you noticed, I'm not stirring it, I'm kind of
folding it in.
It's like kind of folding it and kind of chopping the noodles up a little bit.
And if I didn't know any better, I would have thought you put noodles in there.
Yeah, they're not noodles. You could make noodles with this instead of the roti, but it's a good way of using up your leftover rotis.
Well, I'm still thinking of those hard-to-feed kids who say, I don't want anything but noodles and pasta. So this is probably a very easy way to feed them.
It would be ideal, and I'm pretty sure the kids are used to all the great curries that they cook at home. So
the flavor is something similar.
Exactly. The flavor is similar, something they can relate to, something they're comfortable with.
Sure.
So this would be a great dish and something different, something they're not seen before.
Right. Well, it looks about ready. All the roti got mixed into all the curry.
Well, it's almost ready. So the last thing you need to check for is salt.
Okay.
It's one of the important things. So keep in mind when you salt it, taste it before you salt it, because the curry has salt in it, the roti has salt in it, and the only thing that didn't have salt was all the other ingredients.
Tomatoes and leeks, vegetables.
So we're going to add a little bit of salt, and we're done. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to serve it. All right.
Looks yummy.
So that in itself is a meal. You don't need anything else added in there.
And a very healthy meal. It has your protein, your vegetables, it has everything in it.
Absolutely. Everything is there, your carbs, everything is in there. It's not geared for lazy people, but it's a street food. Street food, it's difficult to mix all these different curries together and eat it at the same time. This thing, no matter where you put your spoon or where you put your hand in there to eat it, it all tastes the same because it's all mixed together.
Right.
So it's
the ultimate fast food.
Exactly. It's the ultimate fast food, and it's good for you.
Well, this was an easy dish, something to do with all the leftovers. Thank you so much for teaching us how to do it.
Well, it's been my pleasure. So I hope you guys enjoy it.